All right, it's Friday, August 7th, 2026, and we got the good news and the bad news for you. The title is the good news. XRP is getting a major upgrade before the bull run begins. We love to see it. The bad news is that it looks like the Clarity Act has been canceled. Well, it has. We're not going to get a vote on the Clarity Act before Senate heads off to recess and they return back in September to consider the bill. So it's been canceled for now. Maybe we'll get it in September before the midterms, but I'm not holding my breath. The other thing that appears to be canceled for now is the Japan reverse carry trade. And then the third thing that appears to be canceled for now is a rate hike in 2026. So on that news, Bitcoin moved back up to 65,000. XRP popped up a little bit, but did backtest $1.01 overnight. We're going to break down what all of this means to the markets, cut through the signals, the noise, the hopium craziness, and also the FUD. Clarity Act canceled. It's the end of the world. It's the end of crypto. XRP sucks. I'm out of here. Some people are going to say that, and I think it's going to be a huge regret for them. Let's get you caught up to speed, folks. The jobs report that came in here, this is what is moving the markets today. And it's bad. 23,000 jobs lost in July, losses occurring in retail, finance, hospitality, and local government education. And this is sad. We have 264,000 people leaving the labor force completely. Wage growth falls to 3.2%, the lowest in 5 years. It was totally wiped out by inflation. And this is being reported the lowest labor force participation rate since February of 2021. So the labor market is stalling again. And this person, Heather Long, who's the chief economist at Navy Federal, says the Fed's job just got a lot harder. And what she's talking about is they're trying to battle inflation. They need to raise rates to combat inflation, but they can't because our jobs market is already stalling. Our economy is bifurcated, meaning that there's some sectors that are still doing well. The AI build out is still taking place, so construction jobs strong. We see a few other sectors there on manufacturing starting to grow. But overall, it was another bleak jobs report. Full-time jobs down 106,000, part-time jobs added 138,000. So full-time jobs are down 6 of the past 7 months, with over 2.1 million people leaving the labor force since November. Labor force participation rate in November was 62.5%. The participation rate now is 61.4%. Some of this is due to lower immigration, some due to baby boomers retiring, but it also likely signals job seekers becoming discouraged. Prime age labor force participation for workers ages 25 to 54 looks a little better, but even that has fallen sharply. So why did I say that this means that the Fed rate hike is probably canceled? Because the economy is showing signs of weakness. That's why, right? It's you got a problem where you're trying to combat inflation, so you raise rates to do that, right? The Fed only has a couple levers. So they're going to raise rates, give us a rate hike this year to stop inflation, which has turned back and has been accelerating and ticking back up because of the Iran war. It was supposed to be over. We had a ceasefire. Now the war is back on. Inflation's been persistent. But you can't raise rates if our economy is struggling like it is, right? This K-shaped economy. And in fact, we got comments from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. He said that the K-shaped economy is done, and he's sick of hearing about it. Well, we can be sick of hearing about it, but the numbers and the data, even though we've replaced the head of the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, and Kevin Hassett on Fox Business this morning said that if you remove some of the seasonality, teachers getting laid off for summer, he said, and some of the World Cup cuts, now that the World Cup is over, we had job loss in July. But the problem is we never got the boost from the World Cup in June. If you look at the numbers, we had losses in June. We never got a bump from the World Cup as far as real job growth. So to say that then we got a cut in July, well, you can't cut if you never got the growth. And so we can parse this up. We can be sick of hearing the data, but it's telling us a clear story. And I think for me and many of you guys, when you're a real person, not up in the ivory towers, parsing through the data, but you just go out to a local business. I take my family out almost every day, just out and about running errands and whatnot. And I'm observing, and what I see out there is not a thriving economy by any means. I mean, they're building out for AI. We are seeing growth in construction, some manufacturing, and there are some good signs in the private sector growth. But this is not an economy that is strong enough to handle a rate hike, which means we don't have the position to battle the inflation. So it's this revolving doom cycle of persistent inflation with a weak economy. That's what takes you from not just inflation, but something that's much worse, which is stagflation, where demand is not growing, demand is flatlining, but prices keep going up. That is the worst scenario. That's exactly what we're in. And it's why gold and silver have been ripping, is because people are moving back into gold and silver. The other thing that happened in the currency market here today is the US dollar got sold off. And so this is why I said that the reverse carry trade in Japan has been canceled for now here in 2026, because we just acknowledged over the past couple weeks that we came in to intervene in the currency market. We sold euros to go buy Japanese yen. And then we also opened up our I forget what the facility is called, but it was a credit facility that we started in 2021 to be able to handle the treasuries that were being sold off. Now this facility is being opened up. The foreign buyers are able to participate in this now. And essentially, let me dumb this down and make it simple. What it means is that we are bailing out Japan. We are not letting Japan blow up. We are not letting the reverse carry trade happen. And because of the bad jobs report, means that we can't hike rates. We can't get a rate hike, which means the US dollar is not going to get stronger. It's getting weaker. So that results in a big sell-off in US dollars. And you look at this USD versus JPY chart, and look at this. We had a big 15-minute candle where this thing went all the way down to 156. Obviously, it's back up, went back up to 158. As I record this update, it's about 9 a.m. on the West Coast, so it's noon Eastern here Friday, and we're trading at 157. But this is why I say that the reverse carry trade, that blow up that we were concerned about, many people have been talking about, and all eyes on Japan, right? Well, now that we've acknowledged that we're bailing out Japan, and now with this jobs report that doesn't give us any room to hike rates, that dollar is now getting weaker, and the carry, it's not as much, we don't have as much pressure on that carry trade unwinding, which would be the reverse carry trade. So it looks like rate hike canceled, which weakens the dollar, cancels the reverse carry trade, but it gives a little bit of juice to the crypto markets because it means that we're not going to get a rate hike now. So that's why Bitcoin was up, and that's why your XRP caught a little bit of a move this morning. But overall, we're trending back down, and we retested $1.01 last night for XRP because we're not going to get the vote on the Clarity Act before they head to recess. Brendan Peterson from Punchbowl News says, I wrote briefly on the Clarity Act in the AM. In the end, Democratic leadership warned their GOP counterparts that a failed cloture bill might kill the whole endeavor, forcing the majority to blink. This, to me, was Democrats and rhino Republicans getting together with the banks in their pockets and doing the bidding for the banks once again. That's all this was. And the banks in Wall Street, they live for this. This is, they love this. I'm generalizing, but the setup is distract, destroy, and liquidate, capitulate anybody that's thinking about investing in crypto in the next asset class that we're about to juice. You distract, you destroy, you capitulate, you liquidate everybody so they don't want to participate. That's exactly what they did to gold and silver for a decade, over a decade, before they let it go. It was suppressed, it was manipulated, it was controlled while they picked up their positions. You had no interest in gold and silver. It wasn't hot. It wasn't the sexy investment until it was last year, and then it ran the whole market, outperforming some stocks in crypto. The same thing's happening with crypto right now. They got everybody out of crypto after last year. They juiced it. They extracted what they could, but basically we cannibalized ourselves last year with all of our meme coins, Trump coin, Melania coin, Malay coin, good guy with hat coin. I mean, we're silly. We just blew ourselves up. And so that's why crypto blew up without clarity. It was all speculation, and it was another speculative bull run with the influencer cabals extracting you, getting you to buy their meme coin so they could dump on your head. That's what we did. And it wasn't just little influencers. It was Malay launching a coin. Whoever signed off on the Trump coin and the Melania coin. And I've been critical of how the Trump family has been partnering up with World Liberty Financial and some of these other projects. You guys know me. I've been critical of it the entire time. I said, hey, President Trump, there's some better options out here for who we could be working with. But they got everybody out of crypto over the past 12 months. Now it's the end of crypto because Clarity Act, we didn't get a vote. And so it just sets us up. I dropped my video yesterday and I said it was going to be my final warning about XRP going below $1. And sure enough, the Clarity Act doesn't pass. And what happens to the XRP chart? We come right back down to $1 and a penny last night. And we're looking like we're going to go test it again here. So after the Clarity Act, the Senate basically called it a day yesterday. That's when these red candles came in at about 7 p.m. on the West Coast, about 10 p.m. Eastern. The Senate wrapped up for the day, and then we got this sell-off, and XRP comes down here to 101. 101.43, which must be why my order didn't fill on I Trust Capital. I have to go double-check that, but I don't think it did because we only went down to 101.43, and my order, I think, is sitting right at 101. So you guys are front-running $1 with me. And so we got a little bit of a bounce this morning when the jobs report came out, right? That signaled that we're not going to get a rate hike later this year. And so crypto went back up. XRP went back up to 104, but we're starting to move back down because we're having to, handle and understand here that we're not getting a vote on clarity. It's not happening. And so this is the bump that you see on Bitcoin back up to 65,400 for Bitcoin. And I think that the market kind of signaling right here, I mean, Ethereum, everything moved back up when we got the jobs report this morning, right? No rate hike. That sent all of crypto back up essentially. But if we're not going to get the Clarity Act passing, it's just so clear that Bitcoin and XRP maintain this moat, right? The broader consensus is that Bitcoin's not a security. It's in the clear. It's good to go. And then we know as a matter of law that XRP's in the clear. And so without the Clarity Act, it's very clear to me who's perfectly positioned, not the situation that we want to be in, but it's still beneficial for us in the XRP community because we have clarity. We know. And this is why I titled today's update, XRP Upgrade Before Bullrun, is because yesterday they released version 3.3 for the XRP ledger. Now, there's a lot of amendments, but there's also a lot of fixes, cleanup, and performance and stability improvements as well. And so right here, these amendments, and these are so massive. Confidential transfers. This is privacy on the XRP ledger for multi-purpose token balances and transfers. Batch, which allows you to wrap up to 8 transactions that execute atomically under 4 different modes. Sponsor, which allows allows a platform to cover the fees and reserves for onboarding. Permission delegation, give other accounts permission to only send specific transaction types. See, all of this builds out our DeFi ecosystem, decentralized finance. dynamic multipurpose tokens, issuer mutable multipurpose token properties. You're going to be able to do more with those tokens that are being issued on the XRP ledger. We also have a fix, cleanup, bundled fixes, and at least 10 to 15% lower memory usage, more in some configurations, improved node sync, and a few other performance and stability notes there as well, too, that I'm not going to bore you with the technicals, which I really barely understand myself as well. But the point being, without clarity, we have it. With everything going on and, these institutions starting to look at platforms to choose, the XRP ledger is going to stand apart. XRP has clarity, and now the XRP ledger is ready for tokenization at scale. We're getting all of these features, all this programmability on the XRP ledger without smart contracts that get hacked all the time. Now, does it mean that everything's foolproof and every app and every yield opportunity and every DeFi deal for XRP and on the XRP ledger is going to work out and be great? No. I'm sure that there will be some where people lose money and things go wrong. But the beauty is that we never had this, and now we do. We will have the programmability that we need to see tokenization at scale on the XRP ledger. The timing couldn't be better. We're getting it right before we get the Clarity Act. So when these institutions have the rules of the road for how they can conduct tokenization and use blockchain technology, they then get to go look at all of these ledgers to consider. And the XRP ledger is going to stand apart without clarity. We have it. And without smart contracts, we have the programmability and the functions that you need without smart contracts. Without clarity, we have it. Without smart contracts, we have it. So the institutions get to look over this, and I think it's going to be very clear. There's a reason why the ETF flows have remained positive despite this bear market. Retail has been selling XRP. Retail. ETF flows remain positive. But retail on the centralized exchanges have been selling off XRP. And that has resulted in a 72% drawdown for XRP this bear market, right in line with typical bear market drawdowns that we've seen in the past. And although this is frustrating, although we want to see the Clarity Act pass, although we would like to see maybe some rate cuts and easing of conditions for our economy, it presents a massive opportunity for our community. We are going to continue to take advantage of it, not just buying XRP, but how we've positioned our business and our other investments and other asset classes. We are ready to strike. Blood in the streets already hit crypto. It's coming for stocks. It is already there for real estate, and it's going to bleed out a lot more in real estate, given the fact that we're not going to get rate cuts. All of it presents the opportunity for us to take advantage of. And so get tapped in with us. Let's let this bear market finish out between now and midterms. But it gives time for the XRP ledger to get upgraded. And it also gives time for you to pack those bags and get them stuffed a little bit more full, which is exactly what I've been doing. All of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. I want to let you guys know that our sponsor, iTrust Capital, is still running the special $100 funding bonus. So if you haven't opened up an account with iTrust Capital, you should definitely consider their platform and take advantage of the funding bonus. You can open up the premium custody account. You can open up the treasury account for your business, your LLC, your trust, or nonprofit, or you can roll over your 401k, your retirement funds into an IRA with iTrust Capital and start investing in crypto, precious metals, and they just added stocks and ETFs as well there. So one-stop shop, free institutional grade custody, US-based customer support, and the $100 funding bonus when you use my link down below. I will see you guys in the next one, and we'll also be back tomorrow for our Discord weekly call. We do it every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So I can't wait to touch base on everything that's been going on there, talk about my moves, some of my buy orders that I'm going to be setting in place in here. So get tapped in if you want. Patreon is how you get access to Discord. It's all at my website. See you in the next one. God bless.